Members? Okay. Greg McManaway.
Present.
John Miller.
Present.
Dan Osborne.
Present.
John Houghton.
Present.
Terry Seiler. Joel Samuelson.
Present.
Esther Good. Present. Bob Cooper.
Present.
You're all present.
I apologize for that rough start. Welcome to the Plan Commission meeting. We're meeting at 6:30 on Tuesday, November 19th, 2024. We're going to have a public hearing. There should be a sheet going around for signing in, for talking a little later. No sheet. Okay. Just so everybody knows, we are being recorded, so this can be watched and monitored at a later time and date. So with that, let's go ahead and do the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would anybody like to motion to approve the October 15th, 2024 minutes?
Second.
Got it. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, hearings. We have case number 2024-P18. This is an application that's been filed by Susan Campbell Fuse to approve a minor subdivision, 2 lots. The address of the property is 2738 East Shore Drive, Culver, Indiana, 46511. None. You want to do the presentation?
Yeah, they could explain the case.
Mike Llewellyn with Whiteman and Associates. I'm here representing the Campbell family. Guess I got a couple of little printouts here. One being GIS printout of the current parcel that is. Oh,
Yeah, we do have something.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have
It'll
that.
save you a little time.
Yep. And then you guys get a copy of the sub or? Yep. I mean, essentially.
We got smaller versions.
Okay.
Yeah, we can put it on the screen.
Yep. Yeah, so essentially they're just reconfiguring that existing lot there, or parcel, I should say. It's not a lot, but through the minor subdivision process. So it's a 1 lot minor, and it's just to reconfigure that parcel and the parcel to the south and make that 0.62 acre lot there. So you can see that dash line. That's the existing tax parcel line there that cuts through. So it's actually a portion of both tax parcels.
Okay. And it's gonna make that lot buildable then?
Yes, yep, yep.
And accessible.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to roll up a little?
So. We'll try and move that. Can you move that up? Other way. Sorry. What's that? That right over left. Yeah. Is that part of it too then or what?
What's that?
The solid black one. The solid black.
Yeah, the solid black line is it, that dashed line that goes at an angle, that's that existing.
Okay, 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 I got you.
They
I'm sorry.
are-
I thought that was.
Nope.
Okay.
So you're combining 2, not splitting, correct?
Actually, we're taking 2 existing parcels and we're cutting out this parcel out of the 2.
You want to go back to the GIS?
Yeah, I believe right now that's like a 1.2 acre parcel, and the parcel to the south there that you can see with the bay on it or the piers, that's I think an 18.8 acre parcel. And they're looking to just split out that 0.6 acre lot out of the 2.
So instead of being real tight and narrow right there, it's gonna drop down and make that 0.62.
Correct. Yep.
That bottom left hand corner.
Yeah, you'll get a little more frontage there and make that area the buildable, or the obviously where the house would go, a larger footprint.
Okay. And then in the drawing, you have a dotted line of where the pre-existing line was.
Yep.
Where would the line be? Would it just erasure from the north to south there?
Well, the portion goes away within the boundaries of the lot 1, but that portion, you know, that line that cuts across the portion of the lot, that goes away. The other was remain our tax parcel.
Okay. I guess that's basically where I was looking at, is like how they overlay each other. You're going to have that one that has the current house existing on it, and then you're showing where you're going to add onto the new one in order to make it a buildable lot. I wasn't sure if the south line here is gonna stay. So you're cutting this section.
Yeah.
But this south line is gonna stay.
Yes, that will remain a tax parcel, so it will be a tax parcel, and the,
Okay, so you're making three,
yeah.
2 to 3.
Yeah,
Okay,
correct, yep.
Okay, so that's what I was missing. So there's creation of a third. Yes.
It's
Yeah.
the dotted line.
Yes, yep.
Because you're moving your solid
Right,
line
exactly.
over.
Yeah.
So- Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So clear. All three.
I'm gonna need just a moment to catch up with the computer.
Is it freezing? or-
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time getting my cursor back.
Mike, while Steve is doing that, could you spell your last name for me so I get it right?
Yep. LEWALLEN.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah, that's what's throwing us, is that dotted line makes it seem like when you're going to the solid,
There we
it's
go.
moving everything over.
Okay.
That's what's throwing us.
Yeah, I mean, really, I guess probably better representation would have been to make the dotted line to on the east side of the new parcel to be a solid,
Yeah,
because that's gonna remain a parcel,
yeah.
where the other one would have been interior, what used to be line, so.
Does everybody understand what's going on now?
No, very good.
Okay. So you see the dotted line on the right-hand side?
The one on the right side, one angle.
Yeah, that's going outside of the lot 1 area.
Right.
That is still going to be the southern border of the parcel that's already there. That's on the GIS.
Okay.
So it's not changing, it's just a dotted line instead of a solid. So we're creating that driveway and lot 1. Like it already exists, but we're filling it out and we're putting a lane, basically,
We're cutting pieces of it to existing to make it.
or what they're wishing to do, yeah.
Yes.
So line actually doesn't matter on this one.
No.
It just stays the same on that. It stays. Okay, that was.
Yeah, they're making
Question
access.
shows that.
Yeah.
And that is just a driveway, not a street or anything.
Private drive at the top.
Yeah, I know it's the private drive at the top, but the angled piece that goes up to the private drive is just a drive.
That's just yes, allow frontage, or, access.
Everybody good with that? Okay.
Width of the lot on the lake, does that meet the standards?
Yeah, that's why they're pushing that out. It will be a buildable
Yes,
lot.
yeah, it meets all the.
How wide is that on the lake?
What's that?
How wide is it on
I
the lake?
believe it was 110.
And 75 is what's required, minimum.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I have none.
Let's go ahead and go down our checklist real quick.
You get
Now the public speak. Oh, public hearing. Sorry, apologies. That's okay. Thanks. All right, I'll honor a motion to open a public hearing.
I think you can just let them speak.
Let them speak.
Yeah, it's just an open hearing.
It's not.
Sorry. It's been a little out of it.
That's okay. Good evening. My name's Tim Oaks. I'm an attorney. Make it easier for you.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome. I'm an attorney from Ice Miller down in Indianapolis, and I've been engaged by, is it possible to put up the GIS? I've been engaged by the 3 property owners directly north of the proposed lot. You can see the homes right there. 1, 2, 3. We would like to perhaps not oppose this plat. That's not necessarily our objective here. The real concern is the access. We are uncertain that they have a right to use the private drive that comes off the road to the east, where it says private drive. We don't know that they have a right to use that. I mean, look, platting was created not only to split parcels and identify for tax purposes, but to make sure that when parcels were split, there was the necessary infrastructure in place for that lot to be used. So somebody didn't get sold a bill of goods, okay? Here, it might work, but we don't know if they have the right to access that private drive for their driveway. And making a decision on this plot until that issue is resolved is premature. I'm not suggesting, if you're willing to continue this, that this be denied. We would like to take a look at it, figure it out, and see if that right exists, number one. Number two, if you've ever been out there and driven down that private drive, that thing is not wide enough for two cars. It is in horrible condition. And to add more traffic to it, even though it's be one home and probably one very nice lake home, that might be fine. But to add more traffic on that is just to create a dangerous situation. God forbid that emergency vehicles ever need to get back there. A full-size fire truck would have, I think, a heck of a time getting back there. If they do have a right to get back there, the properties back there, including my clients, are willing to sit down and try to figure out, we've got to do something with this private drive to make it usable and safe, because right now we don't think it is. And we'd like to have that opportunity to figure out if there's a right, one, and two, if there is, then we'd like to have a conversation with the owner to figure out what we're going to do with this access drive, which we think is extremely reasonable. So we sent a letter. I sent the letter in to Steve late last week when I was first engaged to let everybody know we were going to ask for this. Tried to get hold of the property owner. It was just too little time, but certainly open to those discussions. I'd request that this be tabled or continued for a month to see if we can figure these issues out, because it would be a bad idea to split off a lot that didn't have proper access to a public road. And quite frankly, it's contrary to the requirements of your zoning ordinance. So with that, I'd request that continuance, and I'd certainly be happy to answer any questions that the commission might have.
So out of the three houses, who owns private drive?
We believe we do. It was split by the same family.
How do we find out?
Well, that's what we've ordered actually, we contacted the title company. We've ordered a 100-year search of that real estate to see who owns it. Once we kind of figure that out, we're also looking to see over the last 100 years, was there ever in some type of easement that was granted to allow it to be used for access? And if so, what properties benefit from that easement? So that's already been ordered. We expect to have that hopefully here by the end of the week. We just couldn't, with the notice that we got, we just couldn't get it quite in time. The title company can't go that fast. So we're trying to figure that out. We've taken the steps to do that. We just need a little bit more time.
I only asked this because I remember driving down it. Was that private drive ever a public road?
Not to our knowledge.
Okay.
We've looked into that before because of the signage and stuff.
We abandoned part of that, or got abandoned the far end of it, where I think we proposed to go on through that, I believe, at one time, and first put in. But
Yeah, we were looking further north.
Yeah, we were looking at that. We were looking
at
at Douglas, was it Douglas Lane? That's what we were looking at.
So
We never looked at this.
I can answer Douglas as a public road.
That's right. No, it's.
The only part that I know for sure is private that I researched at the county recorder's office is at the far north end, where it comes up further north. That was recorded in 1932 as a private lane, lots 1 through 14. Beyond that, I didn't see anything else that recorded it as private. So it's just at the far end, lots 1 through 14. So there's a big section in there I can't speak to. But I was up at the recorder's office because that come up previously.
Where that goes north, how many more properties does that northbound lane touch? Two.
Boy, it's
where the private lane come from.
Yeah.
It ends.
You can zoom out and see them.
I can show you on my GIS printout if you'd like. It's a little larger. The other, I guess.
I mean, you're looking at,
Curious question.
I expect I expect this will be, the hope is here that this would be split off and they could sell it and somebody would build a really, really nice house. And that's not something we're necessarily opposed to, but that house is gonna be there 100 years. We think
What's the address?
a 30-day delay to try to figure out the right access to this is not an unreasonable request.
What were you guys discussing?
I do have something else to say. I guess I question, I mean, right now, the parcel that it's coming out of, or the bulk of the parcel, doesn't have frontage on the county road. It's accessing, the access to that parcel is through that drive right now. So in your logic, I mean, as far as if you say that you can't have a parcel without access by the ordinance, that parcel has already been created and it has to utilize that private drive right now. So
That parcel is part of the larger property.
Oh, okay.
no, that's a 2 acre separate parcel.
It is well, it might be a separate parcel, but it's owned by the trust that owns all the way over to the access to the marina that goes on to the main drive.
But
Again, it's a 30-day delay. We're not necessarily opposed to it. We just need to figure out the use of the private drive.
yeah, I just know that
I can tell you if my clients own that property and you don't have a right to use it, they'll take steps to stop you if we don't reach an agreement. And so if you want to split a lot,
Shows it as public.
that's fine. But we're trying to be nice here.
This shows that GIS shows it as public. It's continuous with the public ground is what GIS says right now.
But it shows that as well for the other private drives that we found that to not be true, correct?
I don't know that for the other private drive.
Yes.
If we approve the split to find out on the contingency of this driveway being an actual private drive owned by particular parties or a public access, can we do that? Can we approve this if that drive comes out or disapprove, or do we just hit?
So I think you need to hear a lot more from other people yet.
What's the
So yes, you're,
one thing is that 1.2 acre parcel, I mean, the commission is the one that allowed that parcel to be created. It was originally part of the larger Campbell tract. So if it didn't have access, it should have never been allowed to be created in the first place, that 1.2 acre parcel.
And do you know when it was created?
I'm not 100% positive. I have a survey that we had done that I believe was, see here.
Was it previously platted?
You didn't go through a plat process. It went through meets and bounds and a transfer. So, but it had to go through before the commission and the county surveyor. You can't just, and the auditor has to review it. You can't just create a parcel without all those entities reviewing.
Is there anybody else in the audience who wishes to speak?
That was done in 21.
21?
Yeah.
Very much.
That was when this parcel was created, 2021.
The 1.2 acre parcel it looked like was in 21.
Name and address.
Susan Bills, address is 2900 Shore Drive, Baldwin. And I'm one of the owners with my two brothers, Dave and Jack Campbell. So, I have some comments, I guess, regarding that, the parcel and the easement in question. We received the notice on Friday, 15th, and it didn't give us a lot of time to get ready for this, where the notifications went out on the 31st of October. So we've owned the property for over 50 years, and it's been an easement. I mean, we've used it almost every day, but even before that, those homes, when the homes weren't there, other people owned or had built homes there, and that was their easement to get out. I mean, they were all granted that, but then Paisenfeld, bought those three parcels, and we say it's private to the people that need access to the highway. It's not public where just anybody can drive through, is how we've interpreted it. And so when we received the notice, we tried to gather as much information as possible. went to the surveyor's office, title company, the Marshall County Assessor's Office, Recorder's Office, and our attorney. They've all said the same thing, that no one owns an easement. According to Marshall County plat maps, the easement extends through Edwards, all the way through Edwards Lane up north. The Recorder's Office told us there's nothing in Faisenfeld's property deeds that would include the easement in question. The only one that would be is when they were going to build the home on the parcel farthest south. They created an easement through the middle property to get so that that southern house would be able to have the drive to get down into it. That's the only thing that's private, and it doesn't touch the other drive that goes out to 117. The surveyor's office said regarding this or any easement that, and I quote, buyers have the right of use and not the right of ownership. And if that's the case, I mean, they can't own that road either. Finally, the assessor's office also verified that no taxes have ever been paid on that road or easement, and which means the county owns the road because no one is paying taxes on it. And it's they claim it's easements for the use of adjacent property owners, contractors, landscapers, emergency and public utility vehicles. And I don't disagree that the road is in poor condition. It does need to be upgraded. And I'm not, we're always willing to talk about that, but we totally disagree. The county owns that road, and it's open to, anybody that needs with the parcel there. And it's not a high traffic road. Faisenfelds aren't there that much. So, any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
There was something just wholly inaccurate that she said, which is no one can own an easement. Somebody has to own an easement. So that's just false. That's false, man. Trust me. That's incorrect. And again, my clients don't necessarily want to stop this. They assume that you would sell it off and a nice home would be built there. The intent here is not to stop this and it never be built. The intent here is to make sure it's done the right way. And a 30-day pause to make sure it's done the right way is not a whole lot to ask, because you're only going to get one shot at it. And so let's do it right. Let's make sure it's done properly. We're trying to do that. And if you have the right to use it, you have the right to use it. But we need to find out. And right now, no one can say.
Well, we didn't have time to gather much more information.
Well, neither did we. That's the point of a continuance. It's not an approval. It's not a denial. It's let's figure this out and come back. Once we figure it out, and might be say, oh, you have a right. We've chatted and let's get it approved.
But
right now it's premature.
But why would we not approve the parcel if everything's okay with that and buildable?
It's not because you may not have access.
How can
Anyone else in the audience?
That parcel highlighted in cyan right now does not touch the county road, and it was allowed to be cut out of the parent track in 2021. And obviously that was on the premise that it was going to utilize that private drive.
Is it on the premise that it's utilizing the private drive that's highlighted in purple, or is it on the premise that that driveway that comes off the curb would be utilized?
It would require an easement at that point.
Okay.
I know that at least Marshall County Ty Edley Plan Director, if it would have to be planted in either like like we're doing a flagship lot, or actually have a written easement that was either recorded simultaneously or prior to the split of the parcel. So the auditor wouldn't allow the recordation of it if they didn't see that it had access.
Okay, because it's just, that one driveway does run along the east side of it. So I could see how somebody.
And that's the one that Susan is talking about for when the 21 acre or when the 1.2 acres was split out in 21, we created an easement that was in favor and benefit of the remaining 18.8 acre parcel that allowed them to get across that corner. The easement actually two parcels are encumbered or subject to an easement, one being the parcel to the right there where the homestead is, and then the Cyan Coda parcel are both subject to an easement in favor of the 18.8 acre parcel to the south, and that was done in 2021.
Was that done as a minor plat in 2021?
No,
What,
didn't have
how's
to.
the ordinance?
you didn't have to go through the plat process of 2021.
Anybody?
I mean, does you're talking about the property on the right?
Yep.
And between the two of you, I guess, does that property have access to that? Or are you saying that never had access?
We don't
Ever.
know. The point is, we don't know. And we want to figure that out.
So your point is, right
The
now,
one
you're
on-
saying that this property could be landlocked.
Yes,
I mean, both parcels.
we
If
need
we
to
did.
figure out the access. And that is the prudent, safe thing to do. I haven't heard a reason to rush and approve this. It just makes sense to continue it. Let's get this done right. Let's figure it out. Anybody else?
I mean, if we move forward with this, we could actually create two lots that would be landlocked, right? Instead of one. I'll square with that.
I don't think neither of them are gonna be landlocked because they are,
Well, I mean,
yes, but yeah,
I'm just saying, as far as if we leave it like where it stands right now, since we don't know, is a possibility that both of them would be landlocked.
I mean, I suppose if that was a case, then
If
that was
it's a case,
allowed.
and I'm not saying it is
Yeah,
or not.
that would have had been allowed then before. It shouldn't have happened if that was the case.
So I was gonna say,
I think-
devil's advocate, if we make 2 lots, then that's gonna make 5 lots that have no access. Did you come to find out that that's one person's easement?
Well, GIS says it's public property.
You've got access from the property to the other property. One of them would only have to have access because they own both properties.
My clients would like it to be a public road, because then they'd go ask the town to repair it and help pave it, but.
That would be the council.
Or the county might, but we wanna figure that out. We wanna figure that out. Gentlemen, discussion?
If nobody's paying taxes, how could they be owned? It's a county road, if nobody,
I mean, are any other private drives that we know of?
Well, it's
Do they pay
property,
taxes
maybe
on
not
property?
road.
But the property. I mean, when taxes, how would that work? How can you have a private drive and nobody pays taxes on the property?
Would we have to ask somebody to, for sure? Or to make the legal recommendation for us?
It sounds like we have a gentleman who's doing the legwork right now. We postpone and table this for a month. He's gonna have answers one way or the other. Well, that's his intent.
Yeah, I think neighbors definitely have a vested interest in this, and if this was done mistakenly in 2021, we don't need to make that mistake twice. I don't see any reason that this needs to be done right now. I would like to see evidence presented either way from either of you, or at least agreeable terms. No reason to approve this tonight, I don't see.
I would imagine if there's more time, then the Campbell Police family would want to do their own further research as well.
And so both parties would come in with better footing.
That would be my impression.
We still might need someone in.
Yeah, right. It doesn't avoid the question. We might need a third opinion. I understand.
And we can look into doing that.
So we can, the town attorney. Does
I would suggest that
If they agree.
if you would like a town attorney's opinion, we can ask the town council for finances on that.
Yeah.
However, if this is approved and it goes one way or the other, it would become a civil matter then.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be the town's responsibility. It would be a civil matter between the two parties.
Okay.
So we wouldn't have the money in it.
Wait, could you state that again? How would it turn over to a civil matter?
If you pass it tonight and they decide to go to court and challenge one another on that, that wouldn't be on the town.
Well, that's what I was gonna say earlier, because I mean, if you want to go ahead.
Or if you deny it tonight and they want to challenge it, however you rule in the future, if they have a problem, it would become a civil matter.
I like that.
Out.
Think that'd be
Avoid
responsible to
litigation.
create a
I
civil
hope everybody would.
I mean, I don't think.
Right, but from town's perspective, it would become a civil matter.
Go figure it out.
Keep up the same property on a replat. It doesn't have anything to do with access. Unless there is a problem with making two lots.
Yes, so it's county properties. I mean, that's our best of it.
But that shows for the private drive north of there from Edwards Lane north, it shows that as public property as well. Because we questioned that, the gates and the signage that were put up, and it was found that that is in fact not public property.
I think
That
that
was
was
private.
private drive, wasn't it?
If I may-
That could be the same case for this property as well.
We know it's wrong about one thing, it might be wrong about this as well.
Steve,
If I may comment, it says on GIS all over, not for legal use or for legal purposes. So you can't rely on this for a legal purpose.
So I have a question, which is there are the rental cottages or cabins down there. Don't they use the same driveway or road before they peel off to the, I guess that would be the south to get to those cabins?
We've used that access road ever since we've owned the property. And so has Dr. Norris,
How long has that been?
54 years, I think.
And before that?
Dr. Norris, those cottages have been there since probably the 30s.
Okay,
And we've had access this whole time.
so whatever the status is, there've been people using that access to get to those cottages for
Yes.
90 some years.
Yes.
Okay,
Is that open and notorious use?
I'm a lawyer, I'm not an Indiana lawyer.
Sorry.
that
Does
drive
sound
goes
like
to
it
the
to me.
curb, that drive goes to the curb though. It doesn't
No, it doesn't.
use the length of the private drive.
It does not go to the court.
So even if it's open, notorious and adverse,
It's only that little bit, not the whole thing, right? Understood.
You can see where the drive is to the
Yeah.
left. And I mean, when you pull off 117, that's the access road.
What I was saying is that it would only, I was only joking to begin with, but it would only get you to the curvy road that goes down. It doesn't get you all the way to the lake.
You can go all the way to the left.
Right, but I mean, if you were not trespassing, but you had proved that you'd always been going down there ever since Doc Norris lived there. Doc Norris didn't go all the way to the lake, so you couldn't eat it. That's what I was joking about. But in any case, it was only a joke. So we've already spent too much time on it.
I'm not opposed to waiting a month. We want to table it. I'm willing to take any other suggestions or any other meetings.
I believe it would be up to him or her.
Yeah, because tabling doesn't prejudice us from coming back in December on this, would it?
In fact, we usually table to a specific time.
And would allow Sean to take a look at this for us.
It would if that's what this board so chose.
Yeah,
Well, that's a motion if you want to make it.
well, I think that them tabling it would be the Thu's request, would it not? And then it's up for us to request that
It would be.
that's the town council to appropriate some funds to actually have Sean Cerisi give us an opinion about whether it's a public or whether it's open notorious use and, the Thu's have a right to continue using it as they've been using it. That's a.
The plan commission,
So
the plan commission can continue this on their motion. You're the master of your agenda.
Yeah.
That's state law.
Yeah, we'll have to have a date set.
And, right, to avoid having to send new notice up, if you continue it, you have to state the date, time and location
Like,
of the new hearing, and then we're set.
So it sounds like you have two choices.
But if they
Either-
withdraw,
Sounds like you have two choices. Either have to motion to approve or a motion to table.
or you wouldn't need a motion, at all if they want to just withdraw the,
I'm sure they don't want to withdraw.
no.
I don't think it's appropriate to withdraw. I just think we need to make sure that this is appropriate.
So,
Hopefully it is.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we table this matter until our next stated meeting in December.
That would be 17th, I believe.
I believe so.
17. Sorry.
I defer to somebody who can
17.
check out the calendar.
Thank you very much. Okay, I have a motion. Anybody second?
Second.
All those in favor of tabling until December meeting and having Cerisi
That's a separate motion.
With the data.
with the date of December 17th.
Hey, Steve. You can continue, I believe, through the table. And then I don't think you'd have to do another public notice.
Tabling it. we
Yeah,
don't either.
right, we're all agreed on that.
Yeah, tabling is pretty much the same as continuing. It's the same thing.
It might be different words, but it's still something.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
I move that we solicit funds from the town council to ask the town attorney to investigate this matter on our behalf, so we have a neutral opinion as to the ownership of the drive.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? All those abstain? Motion carries.
Who was the second? That was-
Oh,
Okay, thanks.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And then we're gonna open a public hearing on recommended revisions of the building permit and improvement of safety fees for the town of Colton.
Again,
Again.
Yeah, this sounds good. Me.
it is familiar. So I'm going to represent to you, if you would kind enough to get a motion to open the public hearing
A motion for a public hearing?
Second.
regarding
All those in
new
favor?
fees.
Aye. All those in favor of opening public hearings?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign? Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I'm gonna cover the same thing I did last time, but this time I'm gonna make sure everything's very official, since it has to do with increased fees. Although you can actually increase fees, it's still a recommendation to increase fees to the town council, who will ultimately have 3 readings on increasing fees. So I'll go over this again. The first page is a new fee schedule. And this is for Plan Commission and the Board of Zoning Appeals fees. If you'll see on here, a majority of the fees, and I'll go down through them, but we're at $170. With the cost increases for stamps, which actually last year we did an increase, the stamps went up right after I prepared this. And I didn't realize they were going up. That was on me, although we had somebody from the post office here that didn't advise me. Moving on, but all of our supplies, we're all aware of how inflation is, and paper, envelopes, supplies, even mileage. If I use my personal vehicles, even my mileage went up per mile. Which if you're curious, I get 67 cents a mile, which is based on the state average, I believe, and federal, which pays more. Be nice, but.
You can deduct it.
Pardon me?
You can deduct the difference. People won't.
Oh, well, I don't have enough money to do that, working part-time for Colt, but I enjoy my job. Thank you for that.
You get the good one.
I know.
I'll sign up on them. Huh. So our actual cost for the our $183.99, I rounded up to 185.
Is that gonna change in the near future? I mean, you're talking only, what, $1 and a penny?
So for what I understand and the way our economy is trending right now, no, it's not. But who knows what could happen tomorrow? If you watch the news, there's all kinds of things going on in the world that could have effects on this. It's possible it could go down. Is that likely? No. Is it possible? Yeah, if we become energy independent again. Who knows?
If you're covering what you're doing now, or you're gonna cover what you're gonna be doing tomorrow?
But our ordinance requires me to review this every year.
Okay,
So on an annual basis, I'll go over this. So this is what's fair to the public right now. This takes burden, any additional burden off the taxpayer for the individual's applications. So right now, there's a difference of almost $15 that the taxpayers are picking up when an individual has an application for the Plan Commission or the BZA. So this covers that and it takes a burden off the taxpayers. Will that change? I understand your point completely. I don't know. I don't think any of us did, or we'd probably all be wealthy on stock market, but for now, this is what's I believe is fair. I don't want to overcharge either. I want to just keep it fair for the public.
You have last year's rates.
They're right here on there, the current fee.
Yeah, but I mean, we raised this last year. What did like?
And it went from
2 years?
last year. Well, I'll back up. The last year was $100, so it went to 170.
Okay,
But the $100 had no basis. It was picked randomly. I had no history of that. And I know that it was randomly, just somebody said, let's charge this. And that did not even come close to covering the cost, obviously.
Gee, that's a huge increase in dollars.
So it went from $100 to $170, and now it's gonna go to $185. And I think we're gonna be stable.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wish I did. But
yeah.
From 184 to 185.
So our ordinance does require this to be reviewed every year. So I'll continue to review it on an annual basis, and I'll keep us as current as we possibly can. I know what you're looking at is the actual cost of $183.99.
Yeah.
We're current fee is $107.
So right now we're losing, the taxpayer
This
is
is
losing
what
money.
the-
Yes, that's correct.
We're covering other people.
The taxpayers got picking up the burden of what an individual should.
we are.
And then on the second page, there's only 3 increases on the second page, which is, these are the actual permit fees for when somebody applies for a permit. And decks, carports, open porches is going from $75 to $80. And this is simply an increase in my time. I've spent more and more time on these. The same thing's gonna hold true with demolitions going from $50 to $75. It actually does take more of my time to work on demolition. And when the permits go through and follow up, surprisingly, there's quite a bit more stuff that goes on with that than you think of on the surface. And then finally, for the large scale solar energy systems, it was $100. I know that's way too low. I can tell you, I have not had one of these come in to base anything on. But $300 might be low, but I think it's going to be closer. This has got to be a best guess for me. I'm not sure we'll ever have a large scale. I don't have industrial scale on here. If our ordinance that we're writing right now for solar does not include industrial scale solar. Industrial scale solar is defined as anything over 10 acres. Within our zoning district, it's possible. I'm not sure that'll happen, but we'll see how the ordinance itself. If it is included in our ordinance, then we'll have to come up with a fee for that as well.
Is there any reason we have any reason other than consistency that we have square feet rather than acres once we get to 43,560?
So
I mean, you could say 1,750 square feet but no more than 1 acre. We wouldn't have to look up how much 43,560 square feet is. That's all I'm saying.
I understand. Next time I'll rephrase that. I agree. I understand what you're saying, just to clarify it. So 43,560 square feet is what people are 1 acre. So that was the point.
Yeah. Well, acres are always correct, right?
Yeah.
No, it's not. That's not.
Oh, and the other
Correct
question I
number.
had is,
That's close enough.
on all of the solar.
It's close
up by
enough.
$50.
There's one more square foot in it.
So it's, yeah.
You only have the,
So go ahead. I'll take any questions.
all the solar you have going up, but you only have the one that's going up at 200 highlight. Because you're going from 50 to 100, 50 to 100, 100 to 300.
So for the large scale.
Yeah.
So
That's the only one that's actually going up then?
yes,
Okay.
yeah, and that's the only one I anticipate where we have increased cost going outside.
Because, yeah,
Which is more.
wherever there was a change, it looked like you had highlighted. That's why that's what.
Yeah, the other,
Yeah, the other one's one.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. I'm sorry for that, those aren't highlighted.
All three of
Okay.
them, yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure I wasn't reading it wrong. Because it was Culver.
Thank you for catching that, those aren't highlighted, but yes, those are going up also.
and the accessories, small accessory structures are going down, is that?
Only on the,
Home edition.
No, accessory structures, 120 to 1200.
yeah, your home edition,
Oh, I see that one.
home edition 200, now it's going down.
It's going down. We can make it quiet.
Home edition, yeah.
And then your accessory structure,
Is that intentional?
Can't imagine it being. So I'm trying to look at this, what might have changed, so let's,
Home edition.
so home edition, 200 to 100. So that should, those should stay the same, that should be
Okay.
200.
And your accessory structures, 120 to 12.
Accessory structures, that should be 150. I'm not sure why I did that, thank you for catching it, but that's why I get.
But it is staying 150 then?
And then the,
75.
and then the 1,200 square foot is 15 cents a square foot.
It should probably be 75.
I'm gonna tell you what, I'm gonna correct this because this is wrong, and I'll just present it again next month.
Okay. Sorry.
This, I'm not sure what I printed out here, so this doesn't look right to me, but I'd rather make sure it's all done and not doctor before I come back.
Okay.
So I'll just withdraw this from you for now, and we'll do it next month,
all right.
and then we'll just approve it sometime going into that. I'd rather do it right.
Certainly appreciate the diligence and figuring out your actual costs in this.
Yes.
You actually have quite a spreadsheet for this. So I
I
didn't
can
want to,
imagine.
Keep
I'd be
increasing
happy to
costs on
share it if you
everybody.
want to see it.
Makes it easier to justify.
But I apologize for those other numbers on there. I'm not sure which sheet I actually printed out here for you, but I want to make sure I present the correct one. So I'll just bring it back next month.
Okay. Sounds good. We do appreciate you
Nice work.
keeping on top of it every year.
I know I have a corrected sheet, but it's not here. I don't want to vote on there.
We appreciate,
So I'm gonna withdraw this for now, and
we appreciate everything you do.
yes, well, thank you, and I guess I'll try again in another one. Third time's a charm.
We'll be here.
We'll,
But we're
we'll
gonna
take
give
part of
you,
our pay and make sure you get it.
All right. Moving on. TRC review?
No, there were no TRC meetings in the last month.
Okay. Building commissioner.
So I'm sorry I didn't remove that yet. But once again, I don't have that for you and I won't have that until later this week.
Okay.
Because that's always a lagging report.
That's fine. Any old business or new business, anyone?
I don't think so.
Citizens input?
Oh, I have some
Old business?
current business. Since
Electrical.
I will, I'm just to follow up on your earlier motion is for the town council, I'll make sure that gets on the town council agenda to request the funds for Sean Cerisi to review this case number 2024 P18. And I'll give him the necessary information for Mr. I'm sorry if I pronounce his name wrong, Timothy Ouch, who was Oaks?
Yeah.
Oaks,
Okay.
who is the attorney here tonight. So he has that contact and the other parties had, I know they have an attorney too, so I'll get her information and make sure that we clear all that. So that Sean has that. I'm confident that the town council will give us the funds. We should have a better budget set for this. We'll be working on that in the future, but unfortunately, good news or bad news, the plan commission doesn't spend a lot of money in Culver.
We used to have an attorney attend every one of our meetings. And I don't know, I mean, is there a change in the way that our attorney is hired? Is he on retainer or is he charging by the meeting? Is he charged by the hour?
Our attorney charges by the hour.
So they've got a,
He's got a base retainer, but then there's, I think he's got a base retainer, but I know there's hourly fees. I believe he's billing at $300 an hour.
Okay, I guess that was a follow-up question that I kind of had is, for something like this, is it only going to be about an hour's worth, or we don't know until he gets into it?
I would have no idea.
They stipulated a certain thing and he hits that he's done.
That's Sean.
Yeah.
Two things gonna take much.
I would imagine if they're looking and stuff, but that's
They get,
land ownership.
I'd like
So
to have
every-
the opportunity to present the evidence they have and the facts they have.
Oh, sure.
If they can do the legwork for us and come to agreeable terms on their own, then
Is there,
if they agree between themselves, I'd be the same way. But if we come with one attorney,
That's why we need.
I'd rather have opposite
Yeah.
side with the same.
Right,
agreement.
I think the and would be, suppose they work something else and Sean comes in and says, guess what, guys, it's public. Well, they got nothing to negotiate over public road.
Right.
so do we just want to make, I would ask Don this, do we just want to make Sean aware at this point
Yeah,
and then see what they come up with?
Yeah, that they're gonna apparently talk. I think the other thing is that there's been open and notorious use of that. At least the first.
Actually,
150 feet of that price drive.
Basically what I'm saying.
Right.
200 years.
I mean, that's what my thoughts when they were saying
Just-
too.
A question, because you, on a lot of your hearings and stuff, you were able to ask for things to be turned in ahead of time. So is it a possibility that you can go to them and say it has to be presented to our attorney a week ahead of time so he has time to review it? Because otherwise you may not hear both sides till that night. And even if you had Sean here, he may not want to make a decision unless he's had time to look at whatever they present. So I don't know if you have that option at this point or not, but getting them to present their stuff to Sean before the meeting would be cleaner.
It would be, I guess what I was looking for when Sean looks into it is just, he's not really caring about who wants what out of it. He's just going in to see, is this road that's been over 100 years, just everybody's just known, it's been an open secret, everyone can use it. Has it actually been given us a right of way, things like that. That's what I was hoping you
That
would come
makes
to.
sense to me, but what if you get evidence from them that says there's an easement or something that you don't, then you're back to taking their word for it at a meeting without having the chance to have your attorney review it.
All we need is Sean to protect us. What happens between them, whether you approve this or not, that's going to be a civil matter
Right.
between their
we
attorneys.
can't approve something that goes against our ordinance. And if there's not access, then
Well,
But
that's the reason I was asked, because there's no access now according to one side,
right.
and it's platted as one piece of property.
But they both said that they haven't had time to look into it.
Right.
Yes.
So
Right.
my feeling is if they come back next month and have agreeable terms and the attorneys have said, yeah, we actually found it's this way or that way, here's how we'd like to all proceed forward, and they'll agree on it, then it's an open and shut deal. If they come back and it's still contested, there's nothing that says we can't table it again and then ask for Sean to step in and look at it.
But the motion I made was for Sean to look at it now.
Right.
Right.
So
But
Right.
like he was saying earlier, why let us spend money, let them do all the work on it?
that's fair. But if that's the case, then we need to change the motion. That's all I'm saying. What
So-
I moved was for Sean to do the
But like
research. so we
Steve
get
said,
more
though,
data.
we do need our attorney.
So I can make Sean aware
Protecting us.
We can make.
and find out what Sean needs and what Sean needs.
And just one other question, because I apparently wasn't at that meeting. I don't know what happened when you allowed a parcel to be split off without being a minor subdivision.
We did not, and they just went to the county and had it done.
That's against our ordinance
It
too.
never did come
So
before us.
that shouldn't have been allowed. And if I were this attorney, that's the next thing I'm going to bring up. This was completely done improperly if there wasn't a minor subdivision of that parcel into two.
And that's the other thing that kind of came out to light is that landlocked, waterlocked parcel in the south is, I do not see a right of way for access between those two parcels to that third parcel. They might be owned by the same person, but it sounds like how they're wanting to do it. If your intent is to eventually start selling it off pieces, if you're going to put a property line or a parcel line, you might as well make the easement right in the middle there.
Right, well, so the, you mean the one with the bay in it?
Yes.
The one with the bay in it is accessible by the undisputed driveway from that goes down in the loop there.
Right.
Right, so,
No,
right,
but that's what I'm saying, is that they had intentions of eventually selling it off piece by piece.
right, so they would have to, right, at some point, they have to do something about that driveway
But
themselves.
one thing is if it's still accessible by water, is it's not landlocked. And we've got a parcel on the east side over there that is an island, and they own it. Now, if they own that island, it's already naturally landlocked, if you want to call it that.
I think this is something for attorneys.
That's beyond my pay grade.
The reason I say that, because you've got a lot of different things that
For your point, I do see where you're coming from for the island, but I think it's mostly for accessibility. So there is, if an emergency occurs and we need to have EMTs or somebody drive through, they have a clear way to know, like this drive, we can
I
access.
can tell you right now, if something's on fire back here, and the fire department can cross whatever line you're really getting.
Could they create their own access to this lot? Is that possible? If they don't want to go to litigation and
Yeah, if
they
they went
get
all
in
the
a
way back
pissing match, why don't they create their own
If
access?
they went all the way back to Doc Norris's house and cut the road of their own, so to speak, through.
Because they have, are they adjoining 117, what they say, part of the property?
Well, the very oldest part, as I say, the doctor's house is on the corner.
Yeah.
So clearly, if they wanted to, they could run a driveway from there and have a funny shaped piece of land on the north of it, but they could go parallel to the existing private drive with their own private drive.
Yeah. And
I obviously
and not
do
to
that.
drag on either, but as far as actually, if they wanted to go ahead of that, and I asked before, I never got an answer, I didn't know if anybody else knew. But by doing a replat on non-accessible property, is it still their right to replat regardless whether they have access?
Well,
I don't know, I think it's a matter that neighbors need to work out.
Rightfully create two properties that are still don't have the access.
I think it's all hypothetical till their attorneys work it all out and figure out what needs to be done.
I think that's kind of.
I mean, if I own a piece of property, I want to divide it in half regardless. And, you know, I'm saying as far as what you want to do with your property, you want to make two different properties and pay taxes on both of them.
I guess my confusion is that if it wasn't done through this commission as a minor subdivision before, and it was just done out elsewhere in 2021, which I would assume required a minor subdivision, why are they back here now asking you for a change to something that they bypassed you on in the first place? So I'm
A piece of
I know
property
what
can be
you're saying,
split
you're
twice
saying, the
before
way
it
I understood that.
becomes minor subdivision, right?
any split from 1 to 3 in our ordinance is a minor subdivision
Within our ordinance,
Yeah,
unless it just mistakenly went to Ty Adley,
And he's,
thinking out in the county, and he just did it.
and we used to have an agreement with them that they would pick those things back. You know, it would at least have to run through. Were you here in 21, Steve, or was that?
No,
It should have been
No.
kicked back to whoever the building commissioner at that time was, which may have been Jenny, and she may not have known.
no, it would have been Chuck.
I don't think they were ever approached. I don't think these people were approached them because they thought they could do it.
But I'm saying the county should have kicked it
The
out.
county should have kicked it out.
But the county should have, but the county also doesn't, if the county has just a split like that, they don't go to the plan commission.
I mean, I
Their
know
ordinance just says that
property in town that's been done that.
Their plan director has the authority if it's reasonable to do it.
Well, I guess that's.
For our ordinance says it needs to come to this commission.
What I don't get is if their attorney's saying that they really don't have a problem with this, then what is the problem? Who cares about this?
I think if it's privately owned, they want them to chip in money to maintain it.
Who's fixing
That he was going to try and stop it. If it found out that they didn't have access, he was
Right,
trying to
but
stop
you
it.
know, you come in and say, well, they're not post. Well, yeah, they are. That's why he's here.
Yeah, he wouldn't come to that door.
That's kind of obvious.
All right.
Okay,
We really, both parties really need to have attorneys present.
I think so. Then.
And it'd be nice to have.
And,
Nice to have a third.
It sounds like it's getting heated just.
that's,
We got that covered.
Citizen input. Okay. Commission members' concerns and input.
That's our Christmas party.
Well, we'll be here the week before Christmas, so if you guys want to bring something for December 17th.
I think it was at John's in his new garage he just built.
If I get it done, if I get it done.
Well, we messed up my concern, because I know that we're not having a BZA meeting in December, correct?
No, it was this month.
What?
We're not having a BZA Thursday.
Oh, this month?
Yeah,
So
we're having one in December.
Oh, not so much for that, then, that beat the other one. might have. All right.
Good, took care of your concern there.
Huh?
Took care of your concern.
I just got took care of.
Anybody else? All right. Well, I'm not gonna see anybody before then, so happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and Black Friday if you celebrate.
Sure.
I'll have a motion to adjourn if anybody's so moved.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
I just had to get it in one time.
Motion carried.
And from me, thank you to all of you. I appreciate all you too. And I know you're all volunteers. And this is not easy. Pardon me?
No.
Yeah, 2025, we're working on our site.
Oh, that budget's done past. Sorry.
We went from, we'll look into that, we're gonna see what we can do.
Yeah, that's right.
Now our answer is.
Clevenger said, oh, yeah, we got Dante saying, yeah, somebody else brings it up, and I'm working.
Yeah, how you bring that?
So,
No, right.
think I messed you.
I don't know.
But you know,
Oh, you get my phone now. I'm optimistic.
really, it's really definitely to do it. It's like, look at the neighbors don't want to go. I'm not racist too. It's been over some years. But they should.
That's what he.
They didn't want to see that either.
Really long. Right.
And this is up here as well, but this is our own stuff.
Do you talk to somebody?
I talk not much anymore because I got in the culvert because this little too deep. It's like this 2021 thing that I was talking about.
That's what I wonder. About 200. What happened? Yeah.
I can look at
This is the.
I'm gonna give you this 2 cents. Not really not. But as far as this, I'll go to Corey's office and see what. That's the best place to do research.
Hey, I got to reach out. So my water.
I have that information. She just couldn't express it.
So
yeah.
they came, well, of course, you know, I was responsible.
I told her, she said she was okay talking. It's like,
So
you can read your notes up better
they
than
ended up.
But yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, we frequently
you
drove
really
straight on
Whatever.
to come
So,
down here and build up.
And
With
you-
that, his knowledge of
They
what
want never against the
qualified
crown sold.
for you guys to say, okay,
So
hey, we don't.
So
Never mind.
so that's what they really. Just look at one. I think they're probably best down in the They're good, yeah. That's about them.
Yeah.
I don't understand where they're gonna go. I don't know the laws. The court case, the decision.
That thing is just where comes your house.
Yeah.
And that's why we pay them $300. And everything, every phone call, every email.
Oh, water meter, yeah.
Where the water.
Yeah.
We can look right down the pit there with water meter. That people have to
End up on that side.
Yeah.
It is, I've got it opened up now.
Sidewall. And by that, I'll be able to tell. Waste.
That's another thing, Steve.
All right.
Do we
We can
want to
do that.
make?
We can do that.
Cerisi aware of the situation of that?
So-
Whatever you did.
Yeah. We look in there.
I could talk about it, and I'm gonna go to the community recorder's office.
Yeah.
Because that was.
Ask for the meeting.
Yeah, it was-
All right.
I can see something slipping through on the.
Give me anything but that, folks. How about that? It could be anything.
I'll look into it. I'm not sure what relevance to that.
Like just over behind, honestly, back in the day.
I was just curious.
You come prepared right straight to that was for just over here.
I don't think. I'm gonna make that aware, and I'll get this finished. It looks like we're having a meeting in December.
Sorry. That's the one they want to know.
I don't
know how they have. Unless.
Yes, well, we could postpone it till January if I thought faster. That made everybody unhappy, right?
Want to know what people ask.
Well, I can tell you this, they already had plans in the works for this. If this was approved, it was gonna be sold like in a week.
Yeah.
Or just sale pretty much right away.
They've been trying to sell the full.
So if you are, I'm gonna save my phone.
Yeah, and they think they're gonna. Probably all.
Oh, I was wrong.
When they start getting into all the legal stuff, it's so.
Well,
I'd rather they pay their lawyers the bad way out.
but, and I'd say that, I just like, it's just that I would like to have a third opinion.
Oh, I'll make Sean aware. He's on vacation.
Sean goes back to
Grant money.
that's public
Get
forum.
around.
Look,
So much
they've been using it
whatever.
for 9 years. It's open and notorious. Sues have a right to.
But
Outside.
they're gonna like, you don't live like your neighbors don't.
Very good.
No.
Or to Dan's point, as we were talking, it's like, well, fine, we'll just make it up.
Yeah, and if nobody's been paying taxes on it and everybody's in that area has been using it, I don't know how all that works.
But I don't know how they can tell nobody's been paying taxes on it, because that implies that they, the county, having an accurate record of which piece of property is attached to which other one, and we know that they don't have that. Well, I mean, they may have it someplace, but they don't have it on the database.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I could have been paying taxes on it because of my house.
Yeah.
Inadvertently had it adjoined to it.
Yeah, GIS has some of that stuff, right? Like where we live, North Shore Lane. Yeah, the surveys show what GIS shows, which is the property lines in the center of the road. But elsewhere.
Yeah.
So in GIS can be really close and it can be way off.
Mhm.
I've had the one house was at least 15 feet off.
Wow, so
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's like it's in red letters on there, not for legal.
yeah, that's
purposes.
for good reason, yeah.
Oh, I had a question for you. Just, it was related to when you start measuring like square footage and stuff for solar, is that like the square footage of panels on a given parcel? Is that what trips things from a medium scale to an industrial scale? Or is
The area that it's gonna take up. So it's not per panel, it's per area. If they're gonna cover a 10-acre lot
Okay,
of panels. So it could be on 20 acres, but if they're using 10 acres of it,
uh-huh.
and only going 10 acres, and it's 10 acres of panel, which is just a large scale.
So, but like do we measure, if this is the 10 acres, do we measure from the edge of the furthest panels to determine square footage? Or are we actually looking at, well, there's an array of 20 panels here, there's an array of 20 panels here, 20 there, or are we adding up these? It's like, what does the square footage refer to?
I know it's in my mind, but let me get back and look at if we even have a definition for that.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with your fees, we're just looking at the printout, I was just curious.
Yeah.
No, that's a great question.
Yeah.
And if it's not, I can't say that that's defined, and if it's not, it needs to be.
Yeah, because they don't work like a building where it's like, well, you could look at, permeable, impermeable.
Right, because pretty much the whole thing in while we're writing, everything. Essentially, the whole field of panels is permeable. Because
Yeah.
it's on graph,
Yeah.
so everything
Yeah,
can go
it is.
through.
And there's gonna be space because,
We say to be able to drive between the panels.
well, to drive maintenance vehicles.
But
in
it's
between,
gonna be
so-
grass, so the rain's gonna, except for
Yeah.
however big a pole is, the rain's gonna soak
Yeah,
right
so
in.
I'm just curious what it is we're measuring.
That's a really, really good question.
Thank you.
There you
I'll
go.
go home and tell Tracy, that's a really good question.
Tell her, one in a row, but.
So I've got a history question for you that came up in the class I was lecturing in. Do you know why Abraham Lincoln's father moved to Indiana?
Well, because he lived in Kentucky, for God's sake.
Yeah, right. That's the simple explanation. He moved here because the land was surveyed. He had gotten jerked out of land twice in Kentucky
Oh,
that wasn't properly surveyed because he paid for it and then it turned out that wasn't there.
Oh.
If he came here, he took advantage of the Northwest Ordinance.
I was
All the
gonna
land
say.
was actually surveyed and he had a guaranteed, guaranteed piece of property signed by the President of the United States that said, this is what you're buying. So,
That's interesting.
yeah. So I grew up down in that.
That's
area.
good. I never-
That's why I knew the answer as well, because he lived in
So
Kentucky.
he went to Illinois from Indiana.
yeah.
Do you want? She didn't really go over her notes. Do you want the email I got from that attorney with what he was trying to say?
Just attach it to the minutes. I think it's
Okay.
fine.
And I had her notes also, so I'll just attach those two.
Yeah.
She was unfortunate. I don't think she could express herself like she wanted. She probably should have had her attorney too.
Yeah.
But this,
I think they got kind of blindsided.
they did, because he told me he wasn't coming.
Oh, really?
Well, that was
He told me he wasn't gonna come. So
Oh.
he just, please read this. I
it
will.
was pricey for him to drive up from Indiana.
Yeah, right. Door to presumably charges from leaving the doors and get back to the door.
That and if it really wasn't fair that he sent this letter and made contact. I got this letter in his notes on Friday,
That's what Susie was saying.
and today's Tuesday, so
It's a little hard, right?
the advertisement was published on the 31st. And I sent the letters out on the 28th of October, so why they waited so long, it is what it is, I know, but.
Yeah.
Right, but yeah, it's this funny thing where we waited a long time to do something, and then our complaint is that there's not enough time to do it properly. We created the crisis. All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
See you next month.
Okay, wow.